Hi, Otakara. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Louise.
Okay, I don't know what I've tried to fix my light. You look so beautiful and glowy with your baby, and I look like a ghost.
Thank you. No, you don't. You look amazing. I have light
Thank you.
behind me, so like
Yeah,
I'm darker, so it's like I get away with more now.
yeah, but I've got a few people who know I've been through a few tough weeks, and they know my health has not always been great. So if I look strange, when a lot of concerned people are going to say to me, "Louise, you look sick." So I'm not feeling sick. I'm feeling well. Everybody, thank you for your concern. And welcome so much and welcome. So your gorgeous baby is now how old?
She's about 2.5 months right now, so she's just a
Okay.
yeah, just a little one. I had to join you. Life's happening, so
Yeah,
we're
no,
live. This
yeah,
definitely shows we are live, right? Like my
yes,
baby's
we're
just
definitely
not
live.
ready to eat. We do.
Yeah, it's morning in America. Your baby just woke up. Baby needs food. It's life. We carry on with that. And I think in a way it's sort of going to go with what we are talking about, respecting your body, so it is respecting yourself and being real and doing life. Um, so I want to just stay with the subject of a baby for a minute because I think you are really practicing what we preach. Um, you're not a young mother, right? I'm not going to tell
I'm
people else.
I'm I'm okay. I'm 40. I'm 46 years old. I'm
Yes,
46 years old, mom.
yes, and it has been a challenging pregnancy because you had to be in
Yeah, the
hospital.
pregnancy was, see,
Yeah.
the pregnancy was, there was a moment when I started opening up too soon in my fifth month. And so,
Yeah.
I had to have I had to be sewn up, had a surgery while I was pregnant to make sure she would stay in. And from that point on, I was not able or allowed to do much physical activity other than like basic walking, but I couldn't lift anything heavy. And so I was kind of like, I had to go down low. And then she was because of that she was born by a C-section. So then I had 8 more weeks to recover after that. So it was 7 months of really being worried about my body, making sure I was not doing much to overstrain myself. But I'm back. I'm actually running back every day and everything. So I went right back to it. As soon as I could, I went right back to what I was doing before.
Yes, because I want to put that in perspective. This is why I think it's important. You are not a young mother and you are a single mother and you've been through a challenging time and a cesarean. And yet, as soon as you could, you went back to caring for yourself. You went back to going back to what you normally do. Um, how are you feeling now?
Oh, excellent. I'm high on life, I always say. I'm absolutely excellent. I'm absolutely enjoying the baby. It's been the biggest blessing, in a, in this stage of my life. She's absolutely awesome, and I'm enjoying it. I understand why grandparents are so overpleased with grandchildren because like I get it that like at my age I already raised one kid, so I kind of know what's happening, so it makes it much easier to what we're doing, and just enjoying this moment in life and taking it much easier and realizing how much we can do when we actually like can relax into it. And I think it's a lot of problems, and I'm really enjoying being, because in the timeline in those years I really got in a human body to like observe this human body on like the physical biological spectrum and see what we can do. I mean, um, we are basically potty training, doing the elimination communication. So we're not even, she's not at this moment, she's pretty much not even pooping in a diapers anymore. So there is a lot of things we can watch the body for since beginning, and it feels so sad, like how much we really um, like chop the communication with the body from birth. Because what I'm seeing with this baby to what we're doing, a lot of times it's actually it's kind of sad that what as a society we learn to do and we accept it as a norm.
Yeah.
But I'm personally just having blast.
Okay, I want to just go back to something that you said just now. You said it is amazing how much we can enjoy life when we just settle into things. It's so in a way, I think you're saying take away like the stress and anxiety and stuff has to be like that and stuff has to be like that, and actually just go with the experience. Is that what you were meaning?
Yes, yeah. We go with what we knew. I think it's in some ways it's to learn what it's given and we cannot change, and we take that as the as things that is constant. But I think a lot of times people fear things or things they think they can or cannot change, and they are aspects of life and the body and things we cannot change. They are things we do have power over a lot. And so see, and now we're gonna gotta burp the baby. So, and the things we have power over, we shouldn't like, just because they are things we cannot change doesn't mean there is nothing we can change or nothing we can uh, affect with our behavior, with our approach. And then like focus on those things we can, and everything falls into place eventually.
You're talking about acceptance of how it really is and not wishing it different.
Exactly. Like just
Mm.
being able to, like, it is important to be optimistic, but just as much as important not to be pessimistic. Just like kind of observe the situation, be able to take what we really, really have on hand, and go with that and see like what are our options, and really just settle, just enjoy, just not try to. It's easy to say, uh, try not to stress, but it actually does take deliberate practice. It's something that we have to practice very much on everyday basis, and more we practice that, the easier it becomes.
So the last time we talked, and so for anybody who hasn't seen the previous time, we've had a great conversation on the summit that we did. Um, you made such a deep impression on me when you talked about soldiering the body, because it's something that I've been doing forever. I've really, I've really always thought that I can just take it. I don't have, I will just take it. I can just take it. I have to take it. And very often take it for other people. And so, can you tell us a little bit more about the concept of soldiering the body and how that affects our body?
Yes, what I call soldiering the body, it's something I think we all, I did, like it's like a phase of life we almost have to go through. There is like, I don't think there is a person I know that never ever done that. And it's partially because we're taught that since beginning by our parents, by the society. And then a lot of people never ever stop doing that. And soldiering the body is basically forcing ourselves, just like you work with a soldier, like you force a soldier to do things, and a soldier will go. And so if you go and you decide, okay, it's January 1st, I'm gonna go to gym, I'm gonna start working out. You go, you start working out, and you may, even if you like, and then it depends on the will, then you're really relying on a will. And you might quit after first time in the gym, you might quit after second, you might quit after a month or 6 months. You might not quit for years if you create a good routine, but the truth is, unless it is in congruence with the body, eventually your body is going to like rebel against. And even if you push, as a big boss, you push and you push through the pain, and you are almost like proud of yourself. I did it, I pushed through the pain. Eventually you'll come to the point when you don't want to, comes like some Sunday comes, somebody comes visit, and you are just done. Things happen in life and you're done and you crash. And this is what happens when a soldier comes home and when people come back from the army. The person who once worked out for hours a day, it's just done and does not want to work out, stays in bed, does not fold their clothes anymore like they did in the army, because there is nobody above them. And this is the problem with the soldier in the body. If you don't go in congruence with the body, the first opportunity the body is going to have, the first opportunity, it will come when there is no someone, no boss above you, when your mind is, when the will is no longer willing to just force you, it's weaker than the body. Then people quit what they're doing, and they don't do that anymore because the body just does not want to do that. But if you go in a way that you learn um, to communicate, to be loving to your body, then the body just like, there are challenges like we talk about, like I had challenge too. There are challenges, you go through them, but as soon as you can come out, the body would let you know. You go, you can come back, you can, through the time period when you have some problems, the body offers, you have ways of working with your body more on a friendly level. That allows you to decide to go forward, and mostly the body doesn't quit on you. Mostly the body is like, okay, I get it, like better things are happening, I get that this is for the better of me, I get that if I'm gonna, you know there is a way of, like, let's say somebody wants to soldier and I would say work out, which I don't think it's bad necessarily. I enjoy working out at the gym personally, if I don't have the baby, but it's not for everyone, right? Like certain things are just not for everyone. And if you take the energy and find where your body really thrives, where you thrive, when you have some joy, whatever, put on a music, dance instead of like trying to soldier that, you will last longer, the body will get used to it, and you return to the activity you want to do. Um, and eventually actually realize that the body itself enjoys the routine. It hates being soldiered, but it enjoys routine. The body enjoys going to sleep at the same time. It enjoys understanding what's happening, because the human body is really a lot like a little baby in a way. And so if you go with it friendly in a friendly way, the body will respond just like a little, just like a little baby. There are things you have to fulfill its needs, and it's really important that you do, but at the same time they will do the best for you too, and just be good.
Yeah, Otakara, this is really for me interesting. I think, the worst thing that can happen to us when we keep on soldiering the body is that we get to burnout. But for me, when I had burnout, the worst part of, I think, what really made it happen, I could go, I could work 16-hour days, and I did because I was a little bit addicted to work because it was my one safe place. A lot addicted, just be honest. But I was desperately unhappy. That is why I was a workaholic. It's the place where I felt safe. But I was desperately unhappy. Now you see, now I'm working really long hours. I'm really pushing it. I'm building a whole business online, and I'm so passionate. I want to give my clients the courses, and I want to have it all ready. I want everything working. So I'm pushing it a bit, but I'm happy. I'm not unhappy. And I think that is such a important thing. So I want to really unpack this a little bit more with you, but because you just said you can push your body a little bit more, it will be there for you. And I'm doing the right things. I'm sleeping enough. I'm spending time with friends. I'm getting support when stuff is hard. I'm feeling my feelings. I'm allowing myself to feel totally crappy when stuff is crappy. And I'm letting it pass through me and like really sit with it and then
Mhm.
release it. I think that emotional health that I have now that I didn't have before, there's something that you said that makes me feel there's a huge connection. And I'd like to know what you think about that.
um what connection again? Could you please
If
repeat?
you're happy, then your body will serve you better.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so much easier to build on success. It's so much
Mm,
easier to build on joy and happiness. It's
mm,
really, really, really hard to build on misery. You
mm.
just, it's it's a very rocky foundation. You want to build on joy. So focusing on that first, and this is really hard for, like it's almost you have to age to that. It's very hard to get, like, there is a phase in life we tend not to do this, but it's really important to realize that it's taking care of your joy, taking care of your mental well-being needs to be number one, even if you let for the time being, other things slide, even
Mm.
if it means that some things goes bad. But at the same time, there is a for a for a lot of people, there is a vicious cycle that sometimes they go, I need to take care of my mental health. And it's, I feel bad. And they tend to, it's weird to put it, but maybe you'll understand. There is a sort of joy of like just soak yourself up in your own misery and sit on a couch,
Oh,
and eat a
yes.
potato chips and binge watch Netflix. And
Mm.
it's sometimes it's hard to pull yourself out of it because it just becomes this padded, you create yourself this little padded room in your misery, and the misery just stays there. So it is important to learn skills that would help you to be your own best friend, to pull yourself out of it, not to allow this. And if it comes the evening when you do have, like, life happens, and so you get some bad news, somebody says like something really bad, what I've learned to do, it's if I absolutely have to, because there are moments you really want to, like, sit down and watch a Netflix and just, and just take it. But then I'll give myself a timeline to it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna dwell in my misery and I'm gonna do it for this evening. But tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm gonna wake up, and before that morning happens, in that misery itself, um, I will write down the plan for the next day. Like, so I know when I'm done, and I give myself permission. That's the other thing. I just go like, I'm not gonna, because what we do, we sit on that couch and we feel guilty. We still watch the TV, we eat chips, but we feel guilty that we are sitting on a couch and eating the potato chips and watching Netflix, right? So it is, what I do, it's good to go like, okay, I'm not gonna feel guilty. I'm gonna do this for one evening and one evening only. I'm not gonna do this tomorrow. I'm done, but for tonight, I'll do it. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna eat whatever I want. I'm not gonna feel guilty, but I will take pen and paper and I will write down when I get up tomorrow. This is my next action, because you know what you should do, right? Like,
Yeah.
you are aware of what you should do. And if you wake up next day and you don't have that plan, it's much harder to get to it. But if you actually wake up to that piece of paper where it's written like, number one, you do this, 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 then you have something to follow. And you have something that you reached out to yourself from that point of misery the day before, and you have to be good to that version of you that is reaching out to you from the day before on that couch, going, don't let me go do this again.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I do that myself. I've got a few friends that I call my friends that I can talk about life is unfair because but it's not a place where one wants to be. But there are days where you need to just let it go and have a safe place where you can say, you know what, I, I'm just gonna sit a little bit in this slightly unfair mode outlook, and basically let my child come out and scream a little bit. And then once that is done, I'll be in the adult again. So it's really good to have those friends that you can actually just go, yeah, this is like where I am right now, and I need just a friend to let me just go, without soaking in it, where you can actually just let your emotions and your feelings go without soaking in it.
It is important, because it's important not to have the guilt.
Mm.
Whatever you do, like, avoid yourself from guilt in a moment and guilt in the future, because if you
Mm.
feel guilt, that's like, there is, like, personally, I find there is nothing more blocking your own communication with your body if you feel
Mm.
guilty. The guilt is like, it creates this barrier. And so if you're feeling really crappy, give yourself permission to feel crappy.
Yeah,
You go and you say like,
exactly.
okay, it's fine, but I'm gonna give it a deadline. I'm gonna feel crappy for this amount of time, and then I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get myself out of that crappiness. And I'm not gonna feel guilty about
Yes.
about binge watching TV or sitting and drinking a bottle of wine. Like, I decided that I'm gonna do it, and this is my course of action. And tomorrow I'm gonna be okay about it, and I'm gonna be okay about it because in that moment I decided that this is how I'm gonna come out of it tomorrow.
So in that moment, you're not soldiering your body, you are being real.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
tomorrow, we go back not to soldiering the body, but we go back to aligning our minds on where we want to go.
Yeah, and we already have that. The good thing is that the tomorrow we already have that guide because we took that
Mm,
energy to write it down on a paper.
mm,
And it can be it can be big thing, but it could be as little of a thing as going, I'm gonna wake up and take a shower. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a shower.
mm,
Because sometimes taking a shower can be a difficult thing if you're feeling really
mm,
crappy, like for people in depression or something. So
mm,
it could be
mm,
as simple things, or it could be as simple as going like, when I'm gonna wake up, by this time I'll be out of bed. I'm not gonna stay in bed, even if I don't have to go to work or something. I'm just not gonna, lay in bed all day and feel miserable anymore. I
yeah.
That was, that's one day for it, and by the evening, by the sleep, by the time I get up next day,
Yeah.
that's over.
No, because life happens. I've gone through 10 days where I was actually severely traumatized and a big shock. And because first I had to put my old cat out, and that was hard. And then that was a Monday. By the Friday, my husband had a motorbike accident, and I had to rush into hospital. And then there was an emergency operation. And then the next day I had to go fetch him again. And, and, and then the following Wednesday, one of my cats was run over in the street, and I had to take my cat and rush with her to the vet and put on my hazards and just try and go as absolutely fast as I can. I think I've got a big speed fine coming, and get to the vet, and then for the next hour try and save her life, and she's in agony until I actually had to make the decision that I have to let her go because she's suffering, and we're not going to we're not going to manage to let her to keep her alive. She didn't have blood left in her little body, and I just had to make that decision. And at the end of it, I was so deeply in shock. I think by Thursday morning, I just came back home. By Thursday morning, I could barely get out of bed. I talked to a few good friends. I, and I was just being. And I think anybody who talked to me on Thursday morning would think, you know what, I'm so deeply in shock. But everybody was worried about me. And but I allowed the feelings. And I sat with him. I'm deeply grieving for these cats that I've lost. Deeply. It was very shocking, very traumatizing. And so on top of the shock, it was really terrible. But to be able to say it was terrible is already not soldiering the body. It's already not pretending it's not important or squishing it down and crying. I have cried nonstop for 24 hours. And that was fine. And by Saturday morning, I could start feeling like a human being again. I could start feeling that I was getting myself back. And it's it's exactly the opposite of what we always do, isn't it? We always just want to squish it and soldier on. Just like I'm fine, you know, pull yourself together, be strong for everybody else. Don't show weakness.
Definitely, definitely. And it's the situation you described. I don't know why, but I always find like, and like people who love pets, we all like, I have dogs, I love my dogs. That if you lose a pet, it's like harder than sometimes lose a family member you haven't seen, you might grow up with, but haven't seen for a long time. And that pet is with you nonstop. You're losing piece of your soul. So it's extremely painful to lose a pet. And
Mm,
on top, it is less um, like you get less support from others because the other people, they don't get it. They'll,
mm,
if you lose, a family member that you might knew as a, well, you still know obviously, but you might not see each other except for some holidays or a few times a year or something. Of course it's horrible, but you're also gonna get the support from the people around you. But if you lose a pet, you get very little support, or you'll get some, but you're not gonna get the level of a depth you get if you lose a human being. And also, loss in itself is extremely hard, like mentally and emotionally and physically on a body. So, like knowing like being aware of actually like the depth of the the injury. so to speak,
Mm.
that happened to you, that was an emotional injury. In a moment, you just know that it was really, really big.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it will obviously not even like even one day, one evening, not gonna be enough. You may
Mm.
just go, okay, I'm gonna do it this evening, and you'll go like, okay, I understand this is it, that my grieving will take a
Mm.
long time and it will take
Yeah.
differently for each person. The only thing is that you may have to go like that, go like, okay, I'll have a big goal tomorrow to take a shower, right? And I'm just gonna allow another day to just kind of go and put up the candle and look at the photos I had,
Yes.
with
Yeah, I do believe
whoever
very
I
much
lost
in the
and
candle.
things.
The candle is so important. But I think the important thing is to notice that life is going to happen to us. And I never ever pretend that I'm fine when I'm not. It's not because I do this counseling, and that doesn't mean that I'm not a human being and that I don't feel like everybody else. I'm going to go through crappy times like everybody else. It What it does mean is I've got the courage now to show up with my raw feelings, because I've learned that's part of not trying to push myself into looking perfect all the time or being this person that I think the world expects of me. And so stuff happens to all of us, no matter how good your mental health is, no matter how prepared you are, you think you are, no matter how you are really self-protecting by not allowing yourself to feel. We can't be immune to the stuff that happens in life. The tragedies happen, hard things happen, challenges happen, and we actually get through it much easier when we drop that whole "I must be perfect" thing, because I think that is one of the things that really adds to us, um, you know, armoring up and looking bulletproof. So I
For
want,
sure.
I
And
want,
we
yeah.
do, if I may, like, this remind me what you're talking about. It just remind me that the more you really try, it really does take practice. You're building a
Mm,
tools,
mm,
you as a therapist, we are all human, right? Like we
mm,
all are human. I focus on a human body and a communication with a human body. And I created a toolbox for myself, and I can go and I can use these tools.
mm.
And whatever you work on more, you create those tools that you can work on. So it makes it easier for me to have a baby at 46.
Mm.
Um, and For you it might be easier to go through certain life challenges because you know the tools, you created the tools. And your job's really not to not be human but help the people you are helping to go like, there are tools and I'll help you to create, like, have these tools. So when the time comes, if you just take it like as if you were building a house, if you need a hammer and a nail, you'll have that hammer and a nail, and you can put two things together and make them stick. You can put two boards together and make them stick. And you can make the same thing with yourself. Like, you have the tools. A lot of times the soldiering and the pretend happens when people just don't have those tools. They don't have the tools, so they just go like, I'm just gonna take this, I'm gonna like hold these two boards together because I don't have the nail and things, and I'm just gonna lean back and try to hold them together in front of everyone. But the moments the people are not watching and I lean out, things collapse.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true, and it happens to a lot of people. Let's look at our comments quickly. I do see something there, um, and then let's see. Okay, wait. Let me listen. Hi, Antoinette. Okay, yes. Okay, that's a really good one to talk about. How society had normalized disconnection, isn't that?
It's true, and I think it's partially because so few people have those tools. So that's what it became normalizing because it's become the thing that majority people go to. Most people don't go to. Whoever is interested in watching this and read those books, these are obviously, like, if you are watching, I can talk to the people out there. If anybody's watching, you are one of the small fraction of people. So, and I want to congratulate you because you are the small fraction of people that actually is looking for those tools. And the society, maybe would not even normalize that if there were more people who had those tools. But because the majority, and oftentimes we tend to think that what majority of people do, it's the right thing. And it's not necessarily the right thing. It's just that, it became these things because people just don't have anything else. So the pretending becomes the thing to do. And we are trying to normalize for them to like, okay, so if you feel crappy, feel crappy. But again, we don't give people the tools, so we allow people to sink in that misery. And here in the United States, what I'm obviously, based on my accent, like I'm not originally American, but what it stuns me living here, and I lived here for 20 years, is the level people get medicated. There
Mm-hmm.
is no country in the world that medicates people mentally so much. So America is like, okay, we'll just put you in that box. We're just gonna medicate you. You're not gonna feel miserable. But the sad thing is, if you don't feel miserable, they give you medication that also doesn't allow you to feel joyous, doesn't allow you to feel good. And like they like put this big, basically like a blanket over your own feelings, and you just
Yeah,
go like, okay, there you are. And this is like, you're not
yeah,
gonna feel bad, but you're also not gonna feel good either.
yeah,
And it's really sad, because we can find a way,
yeah.
like if we're willing, we can find a way how to work with that. And
Mm,
it's just like I said, it just takes the practice. That toolbox doesn't, you cannot go to the grocery store and buy it. the
mm.
the
Yeah,
antidepressive or something, it's not the tool. It's just a
yeah,
blanket,
because
the blanket.
sometimes it's again like that. Let's just bypass everything that feels uncomfortable instead of realizing that we are actually built for uncomfortable. So if you grieve and you go to a doctor and he will give you an antidepressant, and instead of saying it is normal to grieve, you're supposed to feel crappy right now. Honor your grief and get through it, because you will get to the other side. So it's rather like you're grieving, let me give you something to take away your mental pain, which means you're actually not grieving, and that mental pain is not going to go away until you actually grieving. Otakara, if you think about it, if you just think about humanity and the generations and generations and generations of hardship and wars and famine and the children and the women at home and the hardships they had to endure and the men being killed in war after war after war. Just our generational hurt have taught us in a way to just push away what is not essential for survival, because a lot of people have been in survival mode for a very long time. And if you're in survival mode, you don't have a luxury of wallowing in feelings. You don't have a luxury of self growth because you're in survival mode. And on the other hand, if you are always in survival mode and you're never in self growth mode, you can't get yourself out of that cycle. So it's a point where we've got to get where we can actually say stop. Something's obviously not working here, and then we can say, let me look at it. And I love that you're doing it in conjunction to the body. So if you're looking at your body saying to you stop, what do you think is the most important things that we can start looking at when we start paying attention to our body?
To me, it's the consistency. It really doesn't so much, it doesn't so much matter like to do something important or that. It's to do it daily, even if it's for a tiny bit of time, but just take the time to do it and be consistent with your action, because eventually it will yield results. It's a kind of the same thing when people go like, what is the best book you read? Like, what is the most, it doesn't matter. Like, if you read, eventually your reading will create a taste to read better books. So all you have to do is just keep reading. All you have to do is just keep showing up. Keep showing up. That's the most important part. We learn by failure. We don't learn as good when we succeed. Actually, success is a great reward, and it's awesome to get to it. But at the beginning, the failure is gonna teach you so much more, and we tend to give up. And that's a kind of a sad thing, like the whole school system, because we learn like to be graded, and if we have a bad grade, we kind of give up on that. And that's what is important. The same thing with the body, with your emotions, with your physical health. even if you're going through hard times, there are ways to show up for yourself.
Mm.
You know, I remember just like, to me, my physical activity, getting myself physically, you know, in some kind of a cardio, is how I am able to, like, I know how I release neurotransmitters. I already know how to, you know, I can eh, lower my body temperature. I can speed up my body's temperature. I can work with my heartbeat on command at this point of my life because I know the tools to do it. But one of my biggest things is was always to be was to really be able to be physically active. And then I was pregnant, and all of a sudden I had to have a surgery, and I was told, okay, you know, you got to take it super easy from now on for the next several months, and you cannot exercise, you cannot even push a heavy grocery cart. And I was like, how, like, my toolbox is taken. And
Mm.
it was devastating for me. But the good thing was for me that, like, I knew I can look for solutions. And you know, eventually I would be looking like, what can I do? And it was hard. It actually took me a while. It took me like a week to really try to go, like, how can I get something that was
Yeah.
taken from me to be able to go. And I was like, okay, I can move my arms enough, I can just pretend I'm running, right? Like, I
Uh,
might not be able to run to do the things, but I can get myself in the thinking. I can, not full, but I can get myself in that mental space without the physical activity. And how
yes.
can I get myself? And eventually I find a way to do that, to go through that, you know. And thankfully, you know, we didn't have any problems uh, further on. And I was, you know, I was able to work with that body. And the pregnancy itself, you know, as much as it wasn't easiest, and I had a C-section, but like, once I had a C-section, I refused all the pain medication, which they were really surprised. And they said, like, I asked, like, so how am I healing? Like, I'm 46, like, is it, you know, at my age, how is it? And they go like, you are healing better than a 20-year-old. Like you
Yeah.
are breaking all the, you know, everything was going like from that on. But I still respected the body because I knew I had a fresh cuts, and I still respected the body for the next 8 weeks. They said, okay, you have a fresh cuts, you cannot start exercising heavily either, because it needs to have a time to grow together. So I was feeling excellent, but I still had to stay low, and I did.
Yeah.
And when I was able to, once it's everything, I was okay, I returned back to what I was doing. But it was good for me because it taught me to find a way and help, be able to help the people who actually don't have the mobility. And that was a
Yeah.
great thing, because I realized how much mobility, like, if anyone is able to move, the movement itself, you know, doesn't matter what movement, you don't have to exercise, you can dance, but the movement, going out for a walk, having a brisk walk by sunset and being in a nature, those things can give you the level, like, that's just huge. Just to commit yourself that every day you're gonna leave the phone at home and go for an evening walk or whatever for 30 minutes, and then you come back home. That's huge. That's huge. If you don't do that and you start doing that and you commit to these 30 minutes a day of just being out and just taking the time with yourself to think whatever you want to, but like, don't stare at like, don't have something, you know, just even if it's just boredom, which is really important for us to just go outside. I'll guarantee you the life will change. The life will take dramatic change towards better.
I um I actually saw you on Facebook daily since I saw you daily posting and readjusting your outlook and readjusting your outlook, and to the point that, like you say, the one thing you could do, you wrote a chapter in our book, which is amazing. So let me go to that chapter in our book, because and I want to try and see if I can find the right quote here, because they are a little bit small, and I know the logos are going to sit over it, so might have to look for it. But there's something specific that I want to talk to you about while your baby is giving us time before we run out of time. Um, okay, I'm going to go back to the comments just now. So everybody else who's got comments, I'm going back to them. We're going to read them just now. Okay, right. Let me see. All right, let me see if I can read it. One of the major studies, the relation between adverse childhood experience and adult help, done by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention and fulfilled by the Department of, I don't want to read Wolfie, where for many years they conducted detailed biomedical, psychological, and social psychosocial evaluations of more than 50,000 adults per year, came to a shocking conclusion. Not only the future economic situation, but also health, substance abuse, and longevity keep showing up in remarkable results. In some ways, not so surprising if you don't look deeper. But as soon as you start looking at facts that say that time does not heal those traumas, or that a person exposed to four of the factors mentioned above is 12 and a half times more likely to commit suicide versus a person who didn't get the exposure to the adverse childhood event, it can make you scratch your head. So, okay, so we're talking about the body and the adverse long events, and what I really like you picking out there is the fact that we say we will forget, the trauma will resolve itself, and it just doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And it's to me really shocking the fact that, like they say, like we are all like, we're saying the children have attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity attention deficit disorder, and things like that. And I actually realized like about 80% of it, it's not actually ADHD, it's actually the ACE, it's the adverse childhood experiences what we endure that have this effect. And so it is sad. The good news on the other side is that you can work through these things. And that's the good news about it. The bad news is that you know those childhood experiences really can mess us up huge, like growing up with a parent who's abusing, who's an alcoholic, for example. Just that in itself can have really hard really hard effects. Oh, I'm not seeing you. I'm not sure if we have a good connection or if I dropped out. Okay, Luis, could you please let me know? I'm not sure if we're still alive. Okay, no. I don't know. We'll stay here. I'll try not to talk about that now. I'm not sure if we're live. If we are, I'll just show you my good-looking baby, Vivian. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Back. Did I leave you there by yourself?
I am feeling, yeah, and now I'm trying to, I was not sure if I was still alive or no.
I don't know if you stayed there or just I went missing. I have no idea. But
You
I
were
hope you keep
missing.
your
I
post.
wasn't sure, I was talking and then I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm here alone. So I showed everybody my
No, no,
baby
no, sorry.
instead because I didn't want
I've
to
now,
keep going.
yeah, no, I've set it now to hotspotting, so I hope. Okay, so everybody, we are back. I don't know where we were. Can you
I
remember
yeah,
where we
I
were?
was I was talking about the childhood experiences. The most basically the main thing in the end is like we go through it. We shouldn't feel too bad because honestly, about two-thirds of people have that. It's
Hmm?
not like we're not even like not alone, like small fraction of population. I think 80% came to contact with it
80.
at some
Yeah,
form.
yeah.
Two-thirds are really affected by it,
Mhm.
right? Like
Mhm.
80% are actually have at least something. Two-thirds are
Yes.
have a deeper affection by it. So if you think about it, if you're in a room, 8 out of 10 people, one out of five people experience the same things you did, and the sad thing is most people will never do anything about it, and they're gonna live their life with that. And it is to me from my coaching, it was very interesting to see from working with people who are over 70 years old to just realize like how much they still carry their childhood with them, and they're decades and decades and decades past those events and
Yeah.
past those
My oldest
experiences.
my oldest client is 80, and it's exactly the same. as if I'm talking to a 28-year-old. It's we all carry the same hurts, the same insecurities, the lack of knowledge of how to work through it, and then we all have those. We either have a burning desire to excel, and then we can excel, but then we can struggle in relationships, or we can be really people pleasing and do fairly well in the relationships, or we can really just struggle in all areas of life. And it's not the same for everybody, and we all have different saving people and different saving circumstances. So, but it's really important to know that if we have unresolved trauma, it will affect us in some way. We'll have social anxiety or anxiety. We'll feel depressed, we'll feel powerless, we'll feel like we don't matter, and sometimes we'll be too scared to take chances and go for our dreams. It affects us in so many ways. Let's look at another comment here quickly.
So I just wanted to jump in and quickly say, but it's also important to know we can fix it. Just
Yeah,
knowing
yeah,
it's gonna affect us, it's important, but it's just as important to know that it's not, don't lose hope. Don't
yeah,
lose hope by thinking, okay, so I'm screwed, and 4 out of 5 people are screwed as well. Doesn't make me feel any better. It
yeah,
just means we are a
yeah, yeah,
screwed society, and now you can just go deeper into it. There are ways to come out of it. There are ways to heal that, and there are
yeah.
ways to heal that to the level that you actually doing better than you could ever imagine, and be
Yeah.
completely happy,
You
completely
happier
joyous.
now. Yeah, you happier now when you were 21. You healthier now when you were 21. I am in a way better place when I was 15 years ago. So yeah, it definitely it so much depends on your mental health, and then realizing the connection between your body and your mind. Let's read quickly some of our comments. Okay. Um, Let me get to another one. Yeah, Antoinette. So, Antoinette, we always come back to that. So, how we get more susceptible to cancer when our mind body connection is not working well. Right. Right. So, I don't know where we are now. Yeah. Big yes about guilt. Thank you, Aunt. Okay. Yeah, and thank you, Antoinette, for being somebody that I can just go like, yeah. We all need friends like you. Instant soup society and instant soup spirituality too. Okay, it's our pleasure. Okay. Everything you are saying has been my journey to my best life. Awesomeness, such beautiful articulated wisdom. Okay. Okay, Leanne, we are back. All right. All right.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
we're still
So I
here.
stayed,
Okay.
apparently. I was still here.
Yes,
You
you were
disappeared.
still there, and you were keeping the boat on course, so that's fine. Okay, all right, and okay. Thank you everybody for the likes and the hearts. There are not enough there. A few more hearts, please. And um, okay, so I want to go back to another. Let me go find it. I want to go back to another um, quote from our book. Okay, so I think you're the last one I'm talking to about our book. Our book is actually going live next week, right?
So
And so
exciting.
yes. So so everybody who hasn't had pre-order yet, I want you to all encourage to go and get it on pre-order. I'll put the link in the comments because it's such a good book. I I it's like talking to people from a whole different perspective, so that you can actually start using the real tools. And for me, I think that we are looking at the body as a tool. That if something is not right in our mind, the body is going to tell us that, and if something is not right in our body, that we need to pay attention to more than just our habits, but we actually have to look a lot at our outlook. Okay, so let me find that quote. I hope I'm on the right one now. Maybe I'm the wrong one. No, sorry, that's the right one. Wait, I clicked the wrong button here. It's complaining. Right. Okay. Your health is primarily accepted by this relationship, affected. People who care about their bodies lead healthier and happier lives. They are also able to provide better lives for those they love and have better relationships with their children, spouses, community, and life in general. So, because I think we are talking about relationships, having relationships in our life, and how much that affects our health, and how much us taking care of ourselves, on the other hand, affects the relationships that we're having.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's kind of the, the cliche airplane model. You have to put the mask on yourself first.
Mm.
If you put it on your child, you may faint and you might not be able to save either one of you. So if you don't take care of yourself first, if you don't make that happen for yourself first,
Mm.
um, it will be very difficult for you to be able to serve others and be a good person. And I'm the first. I mean, I through the last year I got the divorce after 20 years, and I left the marriage pregnant to be on my own with the child. And it was the decision that I realized that I will serve this child better. I
Mm.
will serve this child better if I go through that. And it's
Mm.
not something that people were, especially women, we were proud. It was a lot of times I would hear from people like, oh, I feel so sorry, you're like pregnant. And I'm like, I don't feel sorry for me. I actually, this is the healthier option. It is a healthier option for me, and it's a healthier option for my baby. Um, and it's proving itself as the time went on that it was definitely truth, because I am definitely really enjoying the time I have, and I can work with tools and work with things to be able to serve,
Mm.
to serve and be more productive. Like I can do more things with having an infant than I ever thought I could be. I was scared. I was thinking like, oh my gosh, in my age, the babies, they take just so much time and so much energy, and they do. But if you take care of your body, I still get my sleep. I go running with the stroller every day, and my dogs, and and I do cloth diapers. I wash diapers. I don't even use disposable. We don't even use disposable diapers. And I am working on creating a course right now. So
And
there
your
are
course is
ways I
about.
can.
So tell us
The
what your course is
course
about.
is the course is about. I really try to distill to the relationship with your body, to really how you come, and it came to the tools that it is basically the course towards my tool set of creating the relationship with your body and teaching the body. Because if we don't know where the body is supposed to go, the body needs a guideline. Just like that evening you have when you're feeling bad, you need to
Mm.
have you need that piece of paper when you wake up in the morning to know where you're going. And my course is really about creating, giving you the tool set. It's kind of something I worked on for years till I figured out for myself. So it's actually my own technique of the tool set you have to give a map to your body where it's going. And
Yeah.
that's really important, like to show, because just going like, I don't want this disease, that's really broad. If you don't say I want that, you need to have the
Yes.
clarity of what you want. You need to have the destination point.
Yeah.
Just not want to be here. It's a good start, but if you don't have where you're going, the bike is not going to go there.
Yeah.
It's really important to be aware of that. So that's the course about. The course will
Yes.
guide the people, will show them how they find their own destination, create the destination, and get in charge of their neurotransmitters and be able, because I think that's really important to know, like how you release your oxytocins and and dopamine, and on your own without like addition of other drugs. um, and once it might take a little longer, but it's amazing because then you have this tool set for the rest of your life. And
Mm.
you never, like once you get that, you will never ever ever want to give it up. Like it becomes your most treasured possession in your life, because that was what gives you the tools to show up at life
I love
under
it you
under
say
stuff.
I love it you say you don't focus anymore on what's going on, but where you want to go. Like I've got all these food intolerances, and I have because of that, I've got an almost fear reaction with fear relationship with food because I never know what's going to make me sick next. And I just got to the stage where I've thought, I can't do this. I can't all the time fear that whatever I'm putting in my mouth is going to make me sick. Um, and and now, I'm taking time to, on purpose, put the food in my mouth and go, this food is nurturing me. It's I need it. I need it for my health. I need it for joy. And I'm enjoying this food. And that's a very different
Absolutely.
place from coming to actually feeling the experience. And food is so central to our entire life. But if we can't enjoy our food, then we are in a way not working on the relationship that we have with our body.
Absolutely, because well, eating it's one of our basic survival needs. You cannot live without food, right? Like there are some certain survival things like eating, like drinking fluid, making sure we have fluids, like sex, procreation, and all those things we need to have set in life in a way that they are pleasurable to us. Because if we're not gonna feel happy eating, if we're not gonna feel happy having sex, then
Mm,
we are not going in congruence with
mm,
what the body came here when our soul was connected with the body and we got this opportunity to the soul got this opportunity to have this existence in the body. And for whatever each of us believes, I do believe the soul was there before, will be there after. But even if you don't, you only have you are guaranteed to only have in this body the lifespan of the body. You're not
mm.
gonna The soul is not gonna go have the same experience further on, or it might be gone for whatever you believe. But like it's we have what we have.
And the body is there to serve us, really. The body is there to serve us in our purpose. So I want to quickly just go find that last little quote, and then I think last questions, and we're going to finish off. So everybody get ready with your last question, and I'm going to go back to the comments. But let me quickly find this one quote. Okay, and let me see. Um, I don't see it now. I wanted to find the one where you said, um, oh, there. Imagine if you treated your body in a similar loving way you treated your kids when they were little. Your body is set up for being loved and cared for in a similar way a mother cares for a little toddler. I mean, there you are. You're mothering your little baby, and for us to imagine that we are supposed to give our body that love, attention, tenderness, care, appreciation, acknowledgement that we give to a child. I mean, that's for me the most beautiful way to look at how we can, instead of alienating ourselves from our body and soldiering our body, how we can actually befriend our body.
Absolutely, absolutely. Isn't that funny that I have like a baby right now with me? So it's
I'm
kind of,
telling
I
you.
have the whole visual going with that. So it makes me
Yes,
feel like
yeah,
really good. But, absolutely, I cannot, I could not imagine. She's already getting antsy because we're sitting on the same couch and nothing's really been happening for the whole interview. So I'm going to have to go
yeah.
change her and afterwards. But, no matter what, I'm gonna be here just petting her and trying to be really nice. That it is vitally important to me as a mom
Yes,
to even if we have this interview, to be here for my baby. And if this is the same way
yes,
you approach your body, that
yes.
there are moments that maybe it's cranky, it can get cranky, and it does.
Yeah.
It's just what babies do. It's just what the body does. That like
But
you can just be there and do they are. you are smarter. If you take the lifespan of the body and the lifespan of the soul has been there longer. In my like, I don't want to take anybody else's beliefs. You definitely, um, I'm okay whatever everybody believes in. But like for me, the soul is here longer. It's smarter, so it should act like that adult with the baby. Like it has the capacity and the power to be loving and to transcend through the little grumpiness of the baby and not to give in to that.
I also think that it serves us well to believe in the ability of a body and not to give in and say, I am my sickness, but rather to believe in the ability of a baby, the ability of a body. The same way that we are supposed to believe in the ability of our children and encourage them. I think it's really good if we have that healthy kind of relationship where we believe in our body's ability to heal and to support us, and rather give it that positive input than soaking in, I can't do this and I can't do that, and identify with my sickness. So yeah, I think it's perfect that your baby is here today. So I think that's very precious. And of course, this is one of the most beautiful babies I've ever seen. I don't generally like tiny little babies, but this child is really beautiful.
She is.
So
She is
she's
also very
gorgeous.
sweet.
Okay,
Thank
all
you,
right. So,
thank you. I can't argue that. Like, I'm a mom,
no, you
so if
can't.
anybody
She's
says
she's
like how
very
beautiful
very
is my
good.
baby, I'll take it all. I was still like,
Yes, and she
I'll be
has been
modest
pretty
about
positive.
myself, but you don't
Yeah,
have to feel modest about her.
yeah. Okay, so let me take that away. So, anybody still have questions? We've been going for an hour. Yeah, we've done doing very well with a cranky baby who wants mama to
She
herself
was,
now.
yeah, she's getting
Yeah,
more
no,
impatient
she's
right now, but she started really
yeah.
good. She was
Yeah,
actually
no,
really good
she's
mood. So
been very good, and you kept your pose for all of it. So, and of course, you know what you're talking about. So yeah, it's very. I love this conversation. I've had to learn how to have a relationship with my body and to nurture it back to where it's actually functioning. It's been a long journey. It's always love talking to you. Thank you so much, Otakara. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Please share this with people who are oblivious of how important the body-mind connection is. And everybody who is struggling, I like what you said, Otakara. You know what? You can get better. You can really heal and get better. So
there is a
thank you
light at
so
the
much.
end of the tunnel, and it might
Yes.
start with grabbing that book that's coming out, right? Like
Yes,
that's
yes,
the first
yes.
little light. So go
Yeah,
go for that light. Go for that little silver lining. Pick up the
yeah.
book. Show up for yourself. Show up for yourself daily. Do your things, and everything will be all right. Like it can be.
Yeah.
Everything can be, no matter what position you are in life. The
Yes.
important is to feel good and how you feel in a moment. So there are ways to feel good even in a hardest situation, or like feel the
Yeah.
best possible under the circumstances.
Yeah, and getting back to yourself faster by just applying the tools. So, thank you so much. Remind me, what's her name again?
Otakara Klettke. Oh, the baby. Or what are you
Yes.
asking? I'm sorry, are you asking for a baby? Her name is Vivian, after the Latin word viva, life. So she
Oh,
itself is named after life, to just be able to handle life the best. So
wonderful.
I hope for her, my hopes for her
Mm.
is that she's going to just master life.
Yeah. So
So
thank you for you, Otakara, showing up. And I know you have a little baby, so I know it's challenging, but thank you for showing up, and thank you for writing that chapter on while you were lying on your back. So well done. And thank you, Vivian, for now being our youngest little guest ever. I love it. It's you. And I've got Muffin here. Here's my one, Muffin.
oh,
Muff-
Muffin.
Muffin is always on my lap. And yeah, so thank you for everybody who showed up,
That's
and thank you
awesome.
for all the hearts and for commenting and sharing. And I know a lot of people will come in tomorrow and watch the replay. I always get comments from that. So appreciate each and every one of you. Remember, go get the book. It will be live in the next week. So much love to everyone, and thank you again.
Thank
And
you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you too. Thank you, Luis, for having me. And thank you everybody who watched it. Please feel free to connect with me too if you don't know me. So feel free to connect with me. And yeah, thank you, Liz, for having me here. It's always such a pleasure talking to you. I love that. Like, I love our
Yeah.
work and our connection.
Yeah, it's very precious. So I want to remind everybody, if anybody wants to learn from Otakara, Otakara's putting a course together. I think it is going to be very powerful, and I want to recommend anybody who wants to know more, um, go follow Otakara and sign up for newsletters and everything else, and so that you can know when Otakara is doing this course. And let me know. I'll put it for you in my newsletter. And if you're not on my newsletter
So,
as yet, go sign up. Okay. All right. Much love. Thank you, everybody.
thank you.